Anyway, crisis averted. Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we are just gonna have a little sit down, gossip about the future of Animal Crossing because, to be quite honest, is there a future? We're gonna just chat today about what is out there, what's not out there. To be honest, I think the expectations for this game were a lot higher than what the game was ever actually destined to be. So we're going to chit chat about everything and just have a great time today. So basically where I want to start today is that Animal Crossing was not present at E3. I personally didn't think it would be. However, there was an article in The Verge where they interviewed Doug Bowser, and he basically said that while they didn't talk about Animal Crossing at E3, that people should be on the lookout for, quote, new and fun activities to engage with. But that was it. The rest of the article is about how Nintendo really sees the Switch coming back as people start to go on vacation because it's a portable console, blah, 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 blah. You know, they're not done with updates for the game. However, up until this point, there really haven't been a lot of huge updates, which is where I think the Animal Crossing community is kind of starting to be doubtful that this game is going any further than what it's already at. We've seen updates for holidays and like events, but they're small, you know, it's just for the holiday. There's seasonal items out. It adds content to the game. I mean, can't really argue with that. It does add content. Is it the content that fans were hoping for? The holidays all end up being the same every year anyway, so you can't really ask for more than that in a game that's been doing that same thing for years now. Looking at the history of Animal Crossing, they're not really missing any holidays that previous games included, pretty much hitting all of them. April Fool's Day notably missing from this game with Blanca, but again, most of the major holidays have been hit. On that point, I can't really see them adding too many more holiday things since we've already done a full year in the game. I am interested to see what new and fun activities they are going to give us. Last summer, they made a big deal about the Wave 1 and Wave 2 updates, which included swimming, which not new to the series, but new to this game, and it was something that a lot of people were really excited about. So I think if they're planning on stuff like that, that would be great to see. I also unfortunately think it's really unlikely that they're going to be adding any additional NPCs. For example, Harriet, really not needed because we already are able to change our hair on our own. Tortimer at this point has been pretty much phased out. I mean, we didn't really even see him at all in New Leaf. Dr. Shrunk is also another NPC that's not really needed in this game, since your villagers teach you all your emotions. Another NPC not really needed is kapp'n, and I know a lot of people are upset about that. I personally didn't really like him. I thought he was a little weird. For transportation now, we have the dodo birds, but there is one case where I can think of that he may be needed. We'll get to that. The only two NPCs that I could really think of bringing back that would make sense would be Katrina or Brewster. Katrina could be a visitor to the island, much like our good friend Flick is, where she just shows up once a week, tells your fortune, and that's that. I mean, that was kind of what she did in New Leaf already. As for Brewster, I would love to see Brewster come back. I feel like I talk about this at least once a week, but I do love Brewster. The only thing that might make it complicated is whether he's an addition to the museum or has his own standalone store, cafe, because I think a lot of people already have their islands planned out the way that they want them to. Adding an additional building to the game at this point might upset people, unfortunately. But back to my point about kapp'n being not needed. Apparently, and I don't know how true this is, there was a data mine that showed an island expansion option coming to New Horizons. No. No. You're not allowed to leave. Okay. Anyway, crisis averted. I would think that if they were to add an expansion option, it would be a second, somewhat smaller island that kapp'n could taxi you to, but again, I can't really see kapp'n being added back in. And the expansion also seems a little fishy to me, just because this game is already enormous. The map is the biggest map that Animal Crossing has ever had. This map is 42 Animal Crossing acres versus 20 in New Leaf, 25 in City Folk, and 16 in Wild World. The game is already such a big map that I can't really see them feeling a need to add more land to it. I think what most people are really asking for are quality of life updates for the game. For example, based on all the manila clams I have in my pockets, crafting in bunches, that would be huge. Another quality of life update that I can think of would be like a shopping cart feature in Able Sisters, so that you don't have to go in and out of the dressing room multiple times. And then another one that I talk about a lot is island hopping. I would so love to be able to just go from island to island, especially when you're villager hunting, instead of going to an island and then coming back to yours, and then going to an island and coming back to yours. It just is such a hassle. Something else that I think would be huge would be touchscreen compatibility with the custom designs. I think it's really strange that that isn't a feature already. It would be much easier to make custom designs on the Switch if you could actually draw on the touchscreen instead of trying to do it with buttons. But the big question is, when is the next update? Since nothing was announced at E3, I think it's safe to assume that an update is coming, whether it's big or small, who knows. Last summer, right around this time, they made a big deal of the Wave 1 and 2 updates coming out. Those both came out in July. One was like right at the beginning of July, and one was right at the end of July. It did introduce swimming. Honestly, I would say that's probably the biggest addition the game has gotten so far, other than like save data stuff. Last year, they kind of put out updates once every 2 months or so, and because the game was so new, I think that was fine. And this year, they've basically done an update every month. Up until April, at least, we didn't see anything in May, and we haven't had anything so far in June. But the last update kind of covered everything that would come out in these months. So will there be an update sometime soon? Maybe. I would assume at least a small one would be coming out sometime in the next month or so, but we'll just have to wait and see. Going back to my original point, a lot of people expected a lot out of this game, and I don't want to say unfairly so because it's been in development for a long time. Animal Crossing series has kind of had a history of just being very similar in gameplay style. I do think that people forget that this game doesn't really have a storyline or a plot that keeps it intriguing for a really long time. And I think a lot of people expected that. The game does kind of have a point where you hit that it becomes the same thing every day, and it's a life simulator that's based on real time. So it'd be hard not to hit that wall at some point, I think. This game mostly gets compared to New Leaf, obviously because it's the most recent to come out of this, but a lot of people say that, you know, New Leaf is more in depth and it's more exciting and this and that. Obviously those are personal opinions. In my personal opinion, I like this game far more. I wouldn't even dream of restarting my island, whereas in New Leaf it was hard for me to go more than a couple months without restarting just because I grew tired of the game so quickly. Do I think that there will be more NPCs or holidays added? Probably not at this point, but it does sound like they have at least some additional things that they're going to offer. But we'll just have to wait and see what comes out. I mean, we can only really speculate right now. Please let me know down in the comments what you think. Where is this game going? Is there a future for Animal Crossing New Horizons? The game is what you make of it, really, so if it has a future, that's pretty much up to you. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any future adventures. Till next time.